with Tobe Donohue, who's working with Freekbass on his new upcoming CD. So how long is work? You've been working on the CD with Freekbass.
He and I have been jointly working on it for about a month or so. We've been talking about it for quite a bit longer, but we had some tour stuff we were doing with Bootsy that kind of separated the timeline for us. He's been working on it for probably close to a year, I'd assume.
Yeah, it seems like it's been quite a while, but it's well worth the wait.
He spent a lot of time, you know, writing by himself, getting his ideas together, getting his concepts together, and then fortunately for me, he chose me to bestow his baby upon and take the ideas into fruition, which has been fun so far.
Who's been some of the guests that he's had on the record?
He's got Mike Gordon, bass player, notably from Fish. Bernie Worrell playing some keys.
Nice.
We've got our fingers crossed for Buckethead. Myself, and then we're going to do some horn stuff, which we haven't quite yet picked out the players yet, but that's going to be very exciting to see who that ends up being.
Oh yeah, I love horn sections.
Yeah, they can make or break, usually.
So, how long have you, I guess, been in the music business?
I bust tables when I was 14, and since then I've played music, recorded, produced, and studied. About 16, 17 years,
Nice.
something like that.
Who are some of the other projects?
I typically juggle probably half a dozen to 10 projects at any one time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got my own record label, Manimal Records, which the flagship group for that is the Animal Crackers, which is a group I'm in, and started just over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're enjoy reigning U.S. supremacy as the team champion DJs, and we came in 4th place in the world in London 3 years ago coming up.
Oh, wow.
This winter. So we've enjoyed some success there. I'm also head engineer and producer, and have been enjoying that for what would be. So I do tons of interesting stuff with him to say. And then I have another group that I'm in with a hip-hop artist named Pycon, who's been to, I guess, enjoyed some national celebrity at times on his own accord, and he and I have a record which we're looking to get released very soon, at least digitally. And recording studio, which is where we are now. With my recording, mercenary, and I or solicit my talents and skills. Other artists, you know, fulfill their visions.
Okay.
And it's cool because it's a cross section of stuff, everything from gangster hip hop to experimental jazz to scratch music to funk like Freekbass to country rock remixes, all kind of stuff. And I get to let those styles and genres cross-pollinate from time to time on different projects, which is really cool.
Oh, that's great. What's the what's the quickest you've been able to get a record done for somebody, do you think?
A couple months ago, I had a buddy of mine that I went to high school with, and said he was playing music and wanted me to record some stuff for him, and I thought, well, this would be kind of nostalgic or whatever at best. And he came down. He plays guitar and sings. He came down with a bass player buddy of his, and we did. I learned, recorded, played drums on 4 songs in about 5 hours one night, and that was, you know, 4 full songs, recorded, learned, recorded, mixed, and that was probably a time record for me personally. I mean, I spent 2 years on songs too, so there's a great disparity between extremes. You know, every song is different, you know, and you have to treat it that way. And every project, ultimately, which compiles so many different songs, are, you know, its own beast too.
Oh yeah. What kind of music were you listening to, like growing up? Like, what was some of your early influences?
Let's see. The first record I had was Benny and the Jets.
Nice.
It was a 45. And something about, I think they used a flanger, which I had no idea what I was listening to at the time, but the sonics of the song were so cool when I was a kid. I was like, you know, damn, what is that shit? And then when I got into fourth or fifth grade, I was born in Connecticut, and during the summers my family would go back up to visit, and my grandparents had insured a cottage on the beach, and at night I could get all the radio stations from New York, and I would record on the cassettes the stuff they were playing in the city. And I started getting into hip hop and scratch music, probably like 5th grade. And then I turned 13 and started doing acid, and then I started listening to like Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, The Who, and I really got into drums, and that's when I really started playing drums. About 14, 15, something like that. And so, well, after that point, I had a kind of a different taste in my mouth, and really started appreciating stuff like Public Enemy's early stuff, the Beastie Boys, listened to a lot of that stuff, and a lot of turntable music, scratch music, from
Oh, cool.
essentially. If you go in my car, conversely, it's NPR or old jazz or GUC. Just because I can only listen to. I love drums. I love the boom cack, but at the end of the day, you gotta switch gears and, you know, taste something different, essentially. So.
I understand that. Would you be able to play something for us from
Freak's record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything?
Yeah, I had probably a little something we could check out. Yeah, we're gonna do a couple of very interesting songs with Freekbass's new record. It's gonna be very cool. The joy of working with him is he's such a professional and has so much tenure kind of under his belt. For him to be so open-minded at this point in his career is really outstanding.
Yeah, I mean he's a perfectionist as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
he knows what he wants.
To leave, to suspend, you know, all his, you know, the way you work your mode and stuff, and say, you know, just do something different. You know, like typically I get jobs, people hear other things I've done. You know, you don't send out resumes necessarily. You know what I mean? But someone will hear something and be like, oh, what you did for so and so was really good. I would like to do something like that for my record. Chris didn't come at me like that. Chris, you know, came like, I want you to do something else. I want you to do like the stuff you do. Not, you know what I mean? Not the stuff you do for, you know what I mean? He didn't want anything else he'd heard, like that kind of, you know, it was like, give me something special, something different. Which was cool, a challenge, and quite honestly a relief. This is something that I'm producing with Chris. It's a perfect example kind of our working arrangement together, where we just kind of play tennis with ideas. Meaning he'll start, kick it back to me, I'll do some stuff, present it to him, he'll interpret what I did with his stuff and reinterpret what I did. You know what I mean? So it ends up in this cool cycle. And this song is currently called Get It Go.
nice.
Yeah, that's probably as much as you'll get.
Nah, that's all right. I understand. That would be a nice little taste for all the Freekbass fans out
Hopefully
there.
so, yeah, hopefully so. Quite more to come.
So how much time do you think's left on the record?
We're probably sitting, we're sitting definitely way over 50%. I would say we've got about another 3 weeks to a month.
Cool.
Of just grind stuff. I mean, a lot of the things are already in the can. We've got a couple auxiliary parts we want to do, and
Yeah.
kind of some, you know, producer experimentation we're going to try out with some stuff I talked about, like the horns thing, and a couple other, maybe a feature or two from our Bootzilla family camp. We'll see how exactly that turns out. So.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Toby. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure. Keep an eye out for Science Faction.
Oh, that's right.
The $1 Million Band.